Welcome on in. It is a Saturday morning right here across the great country of America. And it's your boy G. Bush bringing you the only way G. Bush can with another episode of the Barbershop. We got a great show planned for you today. I'm excited about this show. I'm excited about one of these because guess what? Guess what? You know when I say this, it's going to be an episode. You know I got some work for y'all. When I say this ain't for everybody, and I'm up here to educate today, I really am up here to educate today. The receipts are here and available. They are ready, tucked away. We had a lot of preparation to go through. But one of the things that we're going to get to today is I'm going to go back and we're going to do some homework and reminding, right? I talked a lot of stuff. I talked a lot of spiciness all off season, and I told people the way this thing was going to play out. I told you how it was going to work. And I told you that you can have all the best laid plans of mice and men, they often go awry. You can say what you want to say, but when you start playing them games, it'd be different. Today, I'm going to tell you the dirty little secret about readiness. See, there's a dirty secret, and it always goes to the fact in the heart of your attempt, where my job here is to debunk and to challenge you to think in a specific way that you can understand, that you can have ammunition against the talking points. Complacency and talking points are the foil and the downfall and the weight around your waist when it comes to progress and success. I'm going to tell you why ain't no such thing as ready and why I got the receipts to prove it. We're going to talk about these Browns. We're going to talk about these Packers. We're going to talk about these quarterbacks. We're going to talk about the Cleveland. And you know how we do it. We're going to do it all on the most electrifying Saturday morning show of all time. It's your boy G. Bush right here in the Barbershop. Come on in. Come on in, wipe your feet, have a seat, get you some coffee, get you a donut, a granola bar, a Danish, a muffin, a English muffin, whatever you, English muffins is pretty good if you put a little butter on them with some jelly, be crazy. We in the barbershop, let's go, we ready to go. We got a lot to talk about. Yeah, the Cleveland Browns is 0-2, and as the world turns and guiding light and young and the restless, bold and the beautiful, passions, Santa Barbara. Trying to think, am I missing anything? Any soap operas? Am I missing anything? Let me know if I'm missing something. I say General Hospital? Okay, I say General Hospital. Yes, sir. We got a lot to talk about. The Browns could potentially be at 0-3 after this week. I take no delight in it. I would like to see the Cleveland Browns do something. I am not getting any younger. But I take this opportunity to educate you and educate the people on why it is that the Cleveland Browns are content with taking these L's. You see, one of the things that I've been working on for a long period of time is I'm breaking down the rules and regulations and why people come at you with this rhetoric, and they tell you the rookies aren't ready. G. Bush. The rookies are not ready. You don't want to ruin them. You don't want to ruin them. And I've always thought to myself, where did that rationale come from? Where did the rationale come from that quarterbacks are delicate flowers, that at the sight of cold weather, no sunlight, they wilt and die? Seedlings, saplings. What makes people believe that is the true nature of a quarterback? Have you ever noticed they've never once told you don't want to throw a left tackle out there too fast? He's going against Micah Parsons. He's going to melt. Find it very funny that Quinshon Judkins can go out there on 2 practices and run around. I'm not saying that he doesn't need to know the protections, but nobody talks about the mental aspect. Now, what if Quinshon comes out and doesn't have success? What if he doesn't average 6 yards a carry? You're going to ruin him. They never talk about the fact that receivers like Travis Hunter, who need to go get the football and need to make plays and catch the rock, they never say, oh my goodness, they put him out there too quick. He's playing Denzel Ward this week. It's going to kill his confidence. When you say that type stuff, you know what it tells me? It tells me you ain't really been in no pressure situations. You ain't really been in those situations where that pressure is debilitating and you got to either fight or keep it pushing, right? But we've come to this conclusion with the Cleveland Browns that readiness is denoted by the time you sit. I'll give you a very interesting case before we get to our exhibits. I used to be a manager at once upon a time in my life at a call center. And I remember bringing people in and interviewing people, and they knew it was a call center. And they were like excited, you know, when you go through training. Everybody's excited in training. Everybody is sitting in there. They used to call it nesting. Nesting. They give the analogy of the bird being in the mother's perch in a nest where you have young chicklings and they're up there and they need to learn how to eat, hunt, fly, all the above, right? They need to know that. So we used to call it nesting, and we would go in there and we would give them all the tools. We'll start with 2 weeks of in-class training before you even hit the floor. For those 2 weeks, they were given confidence. They were given the book knowledge and terminology to learn to be able to talk to those individuals and talk to people. They got on, they heard all the mock calls. As a matter of fact, we would march them up to the floor to sit with our best veterans, some of the best people on the phones, top salespeople. We sit them next to them, and they would sit there and they would tell them and point out to what they're doing, talking and typing and doing all that good stuff. And they would come back from lunch. I can't wait to get on these phones. I'm about to kill it, man. I'm trying to make these sales. Yes, sir. I'm trying to make these sales. It's nothing light. And as those 1 week turned into 2 weeks, they finally get their opportunity to go up and choose their seat and start talking on the phone, right? But there's always something happens at that second week. Some of them get coughs. I'm sick this week. It's always Monday when you start on that third week. They knew they was on the floor. They get sick. Yeah, Mr. Bush, I'm sick right now. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what's going on. Some of them actually made it to work that day, that next Monday. Or the third Monday when it was time for them to get on the phones. And then half of them made it to lunchtime and said, I'm just confused. I just don't know what to do. You know, can you put me back in nesting? Can you sit me back with Sandra over there? I knew it better when I was sitting with Sandra, and she's great on the phones. Can you have somebody sit with me? Some of them made it through the day, but they put themselves on not ready. So they wouldn't get that many calls. Some people liked the job, but couldn't handle the back-to-back nature of the phone calls. Out of 7 to 10 people that you may have in a regular class, you may get 1 to 2 people that actually make it to the first month to even start talking on the phones. And I realized it wasn't necessarily about them being ready. Some of them was just never cut out for the job. Some of them was just not cut out for it. It wasn't in the cards for them. Some people couldn't handle the nature of being on the phones. Some people couldn't deal with the fact that you took back-to-back calls and you talking to people and you listening to the problems and you're doing that call after call after call. It's a different type of world. Just like it's a different type of world to be a doctor or a lawyer or any profession where there's high levels of stress amounts. And what I learned was everybody ain't cut out for that. But if I would have let them sit there in training for 4 or 5 weeks, how would I ever know if they were cut out for the work or not? You wouldn't. You would sit there, you would pay them company resources, company time, company everything, just for them to sit there and always be perpetually learning, but never ready to go and get on them phones. It's a situation where you understand intimately what it is. There is no search. There is no 100% guarantee that you do anything in life that if you sit there long enough without doing it, you're going to somehow, through osmosis, the knowledge is going to soak into your bones. It's going to go into your soul. There is no such thing as not being an active learner. The second you stop being an active learner, which means putting your physicality with your mental ability, with your with the preparation and the book work, without that, there is no figuring it out. Everybody wants to be a talk show host. Everybody says, I know sports. But can you talk 4 hours without no calls by yourself? Can you talk to a screen with no one around and have passion, energy? Do you know how, can you digest all types of different things from different walks of life? Everybody says they want to do it until you actually there. And just think about how great and how much responsibility goes with a quarterback. All of it goes with a quarterback. The leadership components, the ability to diagnose defenses, the ability to figure out what teams are doing to you, to adjust, to throw the football, to live in the moment, to do all of these things. It takes almost a miraculous amount of mental gymnastics, physical ability, and a bunch of other stuff that we can't even quantify. So when people tell you the rookies aren't ready, what they're really telling you is it's not about their preparation. They're telling you, I'm just not ready to see it. See, there's a very different reason. I can prove to you it's not about readiness. It's about I'm just not ready to see it. I don't want to see it yet. I'm not comfortable yet. It hasn't diagnosed. I got to get ready for it. I got to prepare myself. I got to prepare because I don't know what to expect. And that's the great thing about getting on them phones in 3 weeks. Everybody can make calls sitting beside Sandra over there, the veteran. Sound familiar? Joe Flacco's the veteran. Everybody can be competent sitting next to Sandra. She's been doing it forever. But the reality of the situation is this. How competent are you really? Let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at some of the stuff that we do and why people consistently use this. I love human nature. And the funny thing about human nature is you can actually see when someone's talking. Your body always gives a tell. Your body, your mind, your subconscious always gives you away. When you see somebody talking about they're not ready, they're talking about themselves, not the player. Let's take a look at this. This is the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, right? Sean King came on here and he said something that was masterful. He talks about from playing the quarterback to being a quarterback and all those good things. He's showing you right now what it is and why it's confusing to certain people when they don't understand about how you go about getting ready, and there's no such thing as ready. We're going to get right to this. Mary Kay said something, and I want to get your perspective as a former offensive coordinator and play caller. She said specifically, which I agree, the quarterback competition stunted some growth. Now, when you have Joe Flacco and you give him Pickett the majority of the reps, and then you jettison Pickett off and he ain't on the roster, then the young guys don't get reps or not even throwing the guys. And then you end up with Joe Flacco kind of, playing a little bit the last part of the preseason. And now it looks like, well, the receivers ain't on the same page. Guys, timing is wrong. How much time do you believe it takes for a guy to get ready in the preseason to play football games? And do you think the Browns fumbled the bag on a quarterback competition that was a fake quarterback? It was fake news.
Well, G. Bush, you are officially my spirit animal because I was going to actually piggyback on that point that Mary Kay made. Shout out to Mary Kay, one of the best in the business, by the way. She said, and I think I'm quoting her correctly, hopefully Coach Stefanski and the Browns learn that you can't have a four-person quarterback competition. I'm going to contextually align that with my opinion last week. For those that didn't watch, that aren't on social media, you should be. Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, one of the best shows in the country. I said they should move away from Joe Flacco, not because I think Flacco was not capable on some levels, but because I think the ceiling is so low this season for the Browns. They need to find out what they have in Dillon, Gabriel, and Shadeur Sanders. You asked me as a coordinator, the reason I would never have a four-man competition, if we've only got 12 plays a team in practice, how in the hell do I fairly divide up 12 reps? Thinking that 4 or 5 of them are run plays anyway.
See, here's what you got to get. I've been pointing out smoke screens forever. Just because you conservative and you want to say, well, I'm going to be conservative about what I say, anybody that's using emotional conversations is just off base. Nah, that just means you afraid to say what you supposed to really is. I've been telling you like this from Jump Street. Think about how stupid this is. Think about how dumb this is. The quarterback competition just shows you how incompetent the Browns organization is at developing and identifying and getting the best out of people. You ran around and gave Pickett all of those reps, and then you sent that experience to go sit in Las Vegas for another team. Now all the reps and experience he got in your system is in Las Vegas, right? So when you did that, you didn't get Joe Flacco ready and prepared. If you go back and watch any other interview, Joe Flacco says, hey, I would like to get the reps. I know I'm older. I know I'm a little bit long in it, but I want to get in rhythm. We need to be in rhythm. See, they sold you on we have a much tougher quarterback practices. We got much more tougher camp this year. Really? You do? Because Joe wouldn't say it was tougher because he was asking for reps and didn't get them. And then what you did is you ran a Contra. You ran a CIA classified Contra, G14 classified random propaganda stunt and said, we're going to give you a red herring. Yeah, it's a quarterback competition. No, it's not. No, it's not. What it was a beautiful distraction. You got everybody hyped up on it, whether it's Dillon, Gabriel, Shadeur Sanders, what's going on, what quarterbacks is going to play, when nobody was at plan to begin with. The entire process was losing. It was tanking in plain sight. As you see the football games in 2 games, you can now see it was tanking in full sight. I'll get to why they are doing that here later in the show. Stick around. Hit the like button. 1,244 people across 3 platforms. Continue on, Sean King. We still cooking.
Now I don't get a chance to really see what I have. What am I really evaluating? That's what they're doing now. They're not going to win this year because they're not that good. So you might as well get a large sample size of Dillon Gabriel and Shadeur Sanders so at the end of the year, you can better evaluate what you have. You might not have what you think is a franchise quarterback, but you might have what you think is a very good safety net as a backup. You might come away thinking, you know what, we got a franchise quarterback. We can look in other directions in how to build a team. But they've got to find out.
Here's the key, Sean. Y'all write this down. This is the point of the conversation where it gets heavy. If they move to play younger players and to evaluate them, it's a double-edged sword, right? Because what you inadvertently do is it inadvertently puts the spotlight on you. Listen, it's a show out there that is called The Three Body Problem, right? Three Body Problem is actually a real mathematical equation that deals with suns, right? You know, and if you have more than one star, it's in a planet, right? You can't tell and plot the trajectory of your planet. So basically, there's no stable place where your suns and the sun, how the suns move, there's no stable places around, so you can wildly go through these changes in your atmosphere and your pressure and your climate because you're between three suns, and it's impossible to calculate your trajectory or wherever your planet is going to be with three suns. Now, if you have two, there is it's relatively stable, but three, no. So there's a show called The Three Body Problem, right? And it's called a dark forest hypothesis. And I don't want to bore you with it too much. The thought process is, generally speaking, right? If hypothetically there were aliens in the world, right? If you are another culture, the hypothesis is that the universe is naturally hostile by nature and that it's survival of the fittest. And that the second you alert people to where you are, another organization or another civilization will then come eradicate you because you're battling for finite amounts of resources throughout the universe, right? So the thought process is that you don't alert people to where you are. You don't send radio waves out. You don't send probes out, because what usually happens is those people come and they're hostile, right? So when you talk about the dark forest hypothesis, it's better left that you don't do too much to cause attention and make people come show you. But what happens in this case is the bold move of playing a rookie quarterback brings what? Attention. It brings the fact that, yes, people are more interested in it, but it also inadvertently brings this: eyeballs, scrutiny. It also brings the fact that if you are evaluating a rookie, you are now tied to that rookie. You are tied to the evaluation. So now, if I play a rookie, guess what? Not only is Dillon, Gabriel, Shadeur, Sanders being evaluated, the coach is being evaluated. So in the dark force hypothesis, you do not want to bring attention to yourself out of fear that somebody hostile will come, and you got to deal with that. When you play Joe Flacco, there is no dark force theory. Everybody knows what Joe Flacco is. Everybody understands that Joe Flacco isn't good. And it's nothing here to see. Nothing here to see. And guess what? Now, there is no evaluation for Kevin Stefanski because Joe Flacco is what, boys and girls? A finished product. And you can then say, we'll fast forward to next year. You see how this works? You see how it works? Let's continue on.
And you're not going to find out with both of those guys sitting on the sideline for the majority of the season.
Sean, I completely agree with you. I would play Dillon Gabriel this week, but they won't, unfortunately. What would you say to the people, and this drives me crazy, I'm curious your take on this. What would you say to the people who say he's not ready yet? This could ruin his career because the Packers have a good defense. What would you say to those people?
So this is all about leadership, guidance, and expectation, right? And she also talked about Stefanski being...
I love this. This is the best comment I think you've said, because it goes to the intent and it shows you that there's levels to a coach. A coach is just not about calling plays. A coach is a leader, an emotional leader, a spiritual leader, a financial leader, a leader by example. A coach has to inspire people to be greater. A coach has to motivate people in different ways. It's just not your playbook. And that's the thing that we are trying to separate when we talk about Kevin Stefanski, because we want to just keep it as coaching. It's just this. But how you going to tell me about a coach if you ain't never been coached? It comes, you got to do it. Let's talk about it, Sean. Great point. Dial in.
Being kind of colorless, you know, in his post, pre, during the week interview sessions. This is where I think he has to come out and be the leader of the organization and say, we're not giving up on the season, but we have two talented young quarterbacks that we want to get experience. We want to find out what they're capable of handling from a success standpoint, from a failure standpoint. We're not as worried about how they're playing versus Green Bay and Detroit the next 2 weeks. We want to see how they're playing better as we get into December with Chicago and Buffalo. That's what playing these guys early is about. Not going out there with the expectation that Dillon Gabriel is going to become the next reincarnation of Steve Young, or that Shadeur Sanders is going to become like the next reincarnation of Legendary. Like he invented that himself. You just want to start the process of them getting better. Right? You want to start the process of them getting better. And if you're honest with your fan base, you're honest with your locker room, they'll embrace.
By the way, I still love the Legendary. Continue.
That.
Right.
Listen, we got to rally around these guys. One of these guys could be the future of this organization, but they've got to play them to find out. You're not going to find out them standing on the sideline. And as long as they're standing on the sideline, what could possibly happen outside of Joe Flacco getting injured that would make you transition from they're not ready now to they are ready in 4 weeks?
Dang, that was
Damn
clip
right.
that.
Damn right.
I'm gonna use that. That is the greatest. Them talking points is dead. I got that on repeat.
Yeah, and I did have it on repeat. He is correct, right? What is going to happen? Remember what I said earlier. When somebody says, "Oh, they're not ready to play," that has nothing to do with the player. It has to do with their readiness to see them. The readiness to see them. What do you mean? That ain't got nothing to do with the play. It's the readiness and readiness. Oh, I'm ready to see so and so. That's in their mind. They've made that calculus. But what actually, and put it in the comment section. Let me know something. At what point, if they're sitting on the sideline, what vehicle would you need to get you to say that they are ready? There's nothing that they could do to prove that they are ready because they're not playing. You can't. How would you ever say, you know what, I woke up today and I feel they're ready? How? There's no evidence of it. The only thing that you can get that says that they might be ready is negative aspects of the way Joe Flacco is playing. And that has nothing to do with the readiness of two people sitting down. Did they go play some games between last night and tonight? No. Did they do anything on the football field that showed you? Did they play a game, the secret game the NFL had where they played the Packers? No. The only thing that you think that they're ready to go now or not ready to go is based on whether Joe Flacco plays well or not. That is not the bar. The measuring bar is not that. Now, remember what I said before. Remember what I said before about your comfortable nature of it. What people are using now is this, and this is a fallacy as well. Just because a person is comfortable with something does not mean it's the right choice. I always go to this. Just because your son or daughter is uncomfortable with studying for tests, does that mean that they're prepared? No. Nobody ever says, you know what, Johnny, he said he's prepared. I saw him look at a book 3 times. But as long as he feels that he's prepared, then he's prepared. See, the Cleveland Browns go about, well, they've already made the evaluation. They've already made the evaluation that these guys aren't it. Because if they were it, they'd be doing it. No, that's just called laziness. In what world or what universe do we come around here and say that if somebody thinks it, therefore they are? Faith without works is dead. I didn't say it. Somebody a little more powerful than me said it. Somebody a little more wiser once said that you can't, listen, I'm a faithful guy. I like to think of myself as a man of God, but I can't be running around here praying to lose weight and I'm still eating Cheetos. The Cleveland Browns can't be running around here talking about, Hey, listen, I got faith that we're going to find a quarterback yet, but you don't have any requisite skills to develop them. Watch and notice the fear level and what the fear level is. And I'm not just using this because I'm using this to show you these are the things that are inside internally of the people, not on the player. Let's talk about this.
No big picture why they're driving this particular car. Because I don't think they have a high ceiling with Joe Flacco, and they've been trying to figure quarterback out for how long, guys?
40 years.
And sometimes when you won't change, you got to do something strange. Here's what I would do.
Yeah.
I would alternate games with Dillon, Gabriel, and Shadeur Sanders.
Ooh. I think they believe they already have that answer.
It's one thing to believe it, it's another thing to see it. I think Shadeur Sanders could be really good in certain spots.
In what world and universe, I love body language. In what world or universe can you believe, but yet and still never want sight of it? And what part of human nature can you want to believe something, but you don't need the physical proof to get it? I believe they're going to pay me my paycheck, right? I don't care how many times they say they're going to pay it. I need to see it. Where is it at? Where's my direct deposit? Where is my safety deposit? Where's my transaction? Where's the ACH transfer? I need the direct deposit. Don't be telling me about it. I need to see it. We've now moved into the Casper the Friendly Ghost era now in Cleveland. The Casper the Friendly Ghost era is just come on out and say it. I'm uncomfortable. I don't know what to make of. I just can't. See, what you want is comfortableness. You want somebody you know something from. Think about this. People would be rather comfortable losing with known quantities rather than winning and feel like it's not in their control. I would rather lose and be in control than win and not have a sense of a grasp on what was going on. I just got to ride the roller coaster. You ever wonder why most people that over age of 40 don't really be getting on roller coasters like that? Because it invokes a certain amount of emotion in them that they've buried. Once you get to be 40, 50 years old, you ain't got no time for that. You worried about bills, right? You worried about a family. I ain't got no time to be up here scared over no roller coaster. That's why there's a level of conservativeness about playing a 41-year-old quarterback, because at least if he fails in a way that you're comfortable and cognizant of, that you've seen before, that it's a comfortable nature to it. And then you can always say, see, it's the same old Browns without ever trying to change the same old Browns. Continue, Sean. 1,700 people, wherever you at, hit the like button. I know this ain't that for everybody, but I brought the receipts.
In the National Football League, I'm not sure if Cleveland is that spot. But the organization, I'd be damned now if they let these kids go and they go somewhere else and ball out. And I mean, that's just going to, dig the hole even deeper for the Cleveland fan base, right?
Well, sorry, Sean. How do we know one of these guys can't be better than Flacco anyway, by the way?
That's what I'm advocating for. You're not listening to me?
He said it took you all that time to get what I was just putting down a second ago. You not listening to me? The premise is they're not ready. When you say someone's not ready, readiness denotes that they have a level of requisite things that inside, whether they're traits or intangibles, that put them in a position to be successful. If I'm sitting here watching Joe Flacco against the Baltimore Ravens, did that look like success? Did that look like readiness? Did all of Joe Flacco's experience over the last 20 years stop him from throwing one of the worst picks across his body on the sideline? No. Did his experience keep him from getting strip sacked and the ball put on the turf and guys running him back down the field? No. For all his experience, did it teach him to be faster and move out of the way from sacks last week? No. So when you ask about ready, is Joe Flacco even ready? What is ready? Again, has nothing to do with the players. Readiness is about what you're ready to see. And the Cleveland fan base is just not ready to see Shadeur Sanders yet. I'm not ready to see Dillon Gabriel yet, because ready means you'd have to actually take a look at the people in your organization. Ready means you would actually then have the mirror held up. See, this is you. And you would have to come to the conclusion of, wow, maybe it isn't just a quarterback. Maybe we've gotten it all wrong. And that's a tough thing to swallow. It's tough to be married for 3 or 4 years. And you realize you picked the wrong person. It can be devastating. You're the only one to blame. Continue. Now watch this. I'm going to give you, this is the sentiments of a lot of people, right?
Why they're driving this particular car. Because I don't think they have a high ceiling with Joe Flacco, and they've been trying to figure quarterback out for how long, guys?
40 years.
And sometimes when you won't change, you got to do.
We already heard that one. Let me give you the other one. And let me finish this off the right way. Where are we at? Is it this one? Might be this one.
Thing. Jay and a lot of fans, and I get this. I understand from a fan's perspective and a heart perspective, I get it. They think there's a chance, because of how the defense played last week, that maybe they can win the Super Bowl if Joe Flacco stays healthy.
I don't think that.
Down deep, you must.
No, absolutely not. No, I
Come
don't.
on.
Well, you can't tell me what I think.
Okay, all right, fine.
Let me correct you.
Fine. Okay.
Because that's a bridge too far. I'm like crying out loud.
Okay, they could be a playoff
but here's
contender.
What I want, Bull.
Yeah.
I want my Sunday afternoons from 1 to 4 to be filled with optimism and hope and excitement and good plays and close finishes.
Here's the problem. This is this is the exact opposite of what you're describing. You don't have optimism with Joe Flacco. You don't have good plays with Joe Flacco. You don't have any of that. So why is what you're saying the opposite of what the reality of it is? And a lot of people do this. A lot of people have cognitive dissonance when it comes to certain things because they say they want one thing, but it actually is not true. Their actions don't align with it.
That's what I want. Week to week, give me entertainment. This team
don't
isn't
care
making
about
the playoffs.
Go ahead.
They're not making the playoffs. They're not, and I know that. But what I don't want to watch again, because I've watched it for 30 years, I don't want to watch quarterbacks come out there that I have zero faith in.
Here we go. See what you said. Zero faith in. Right? It's not about whether or not the person sitting back there can play or not. It's about whether or not people have come to the conclusion that they are okay with seeing this person because it's taking them time to wrap their head around something that they don't understand. Think about it. Joe Flacco, at least, is something I'm used to seeing, and I get it. He walks like me, looks like me, talks like me. It's Joe Flacco. He's nondescript. It's Flacco. We share the same experience and the same ideology. We share the same who we are, right? And there's nothing wrong with identifying with people who are like-minded, who come from different places, the same places as you. There's nothing wrong with that. It's human nature. We are tribal at its core. But the reality of the situation is sometimes we are forced in life to interact and commingle with a lot of different people we may not see eye to eye with. A lot of people can't understand long hair. A lot of people can't understand whether or not you listen to rap music. A lot of people don't understand how you're a quarterback, but you play rap music too. You sing songs. A lot of people can't understand shoe culture and jewelry culture and shiny and flashy and brash. Article just came out this week. Why would Shadeur Sanders, he said the Baltimore Ravens, he turned them down. He wanted to go somewhere else. Why wouldn't you want to be with an organization? Why wouldn't you want to be with an organization that's a winner and sit behind Lamar Jackson? How many people go to work and want to sit behind another person? How many people that work their whole lives want to be upwardly mobile? One of the first questions you ask is, what's the upward mobility? What's the structure? Can I get some continuing education? What's the benefits? I want to progress to get to this position. Anybody who's an adult aspires to be somebody who moves up the ladder, to do more, to be more. But yet still, you don't understand that? It's about ambition. And for some, ambition is looked at as a negative. For others, it's looked at as a positive. I want a guy who's a gamer. I want a guy who thinks he's the best dude in the world. I want a person that's a leader of men. I want a person, but yet and still, when a person expounds on that and is that and gives you that, you're uncomfortable with it. That's the nature of the world. And we'll continue to work up to it. But it's all in terms of the position. And let me remind you, when they came up with the rule that it says the quarterback is the face of the franchise, again, let me just tell you, maybe everybody might not be picking up what I'm putting down. Maybe you don't understand what I'm saying, right? But when you talk about the face of the organization, that means that individual represents every secretary, clerk, janitor, coach, support staff, strength and conditioning, finance, accounting, scouting, analytics. They represent all of them. So when they make the choice at quarterback, they are making the choice to say, this person is the de facto leader of everything. All of it. So when you make that choice, choose wisely. Because once the king has the crown, only way that's getting them up out of here is a war or death. And a Games of Thrones reference. So when I'm talking about people not ready to see him, they got to be mentally prepared to say that person represents me in everything we do here. The same way Lamar Jackson is the Baltimore Ravens. The same way Josh Allen is the Buffalo Bills. Who's the owner? I don't know who the owner and the coach is for the Bills. I know Josh Allen. I don't care who you got in Cincinnati. Jamar Chase is great, but guess what? Joe Burrow is the Bengals. Patrick Mahomes, no matter how great Andy Reid is and the Hunts are, Patrick Mahomes is the Kansas City Chiefs. So when I say people aren't ready to see that, they aren't ready to turn over the reins to somebody who has been deemed a wild card. Can't read them, brash, overconfident. You see? You tell me I'm lying here. All I'm saying, I'm giving to you what y'all gave to me. You said that in the pre-draft process. You said that's the reason he fell. You said that. And by the way, I'm not just referring to him. I'm talking about Dillon Gabriel too. He's an unconventional quarterback. Small in stature. But they picked him very highly. Are they ready to turn them keys over? Because if you pick that guy and he turns out to be good, then that falls back on you, right? We're just saying, that ain't even my whole point. Let's continue to go. I'm just getting to it.
Now, maybe we'll catch lightning in a bottle and they'll come out there and play great. And then I'll say, you know what? I'm glad we did it this way. But right now, here's what I want. Entertain me for 3 hours on Sunday.
All right,
Don't,
I get that.
Don't drive my soul into the dirt every Sunday from 1 to 4.
I get that, but it is possible you might get that from these guys. It's possible.
It is. There is a chance. I just think, in my opinion, I don't think we're going to get better football from either of them that we're getting from Joe Flacco this year.
I get.
So therefore, if you don't think Joe Flacco's playing horrible, he played horrible last game. We'll see what he does this game. If you don't believe that you're going to get better quarterback play than what Joe Flacco is offering you at 41, you're dead in the water. And let me ask you, who picked those players? Again, you are tied at the hip for accountability. If they are not good and you take them and your coach can't coach them up and make them better, then what are we talking about? Who is that on? Let's get to you on. And then G. Bush, I got to give you me. I got to give you me. Some people say I don't be talking to him like that. Some people say I don't be talking to him like that. I think I do.
The opportunity, send Dillon Gabriel out there and see what he can do. The game is at home. You got a week to prepare for it. Dillon Gabriel is already almost 25 years old. He's the most experienced guy. You told me all this. You said you took him for a reason.
So let's see it.
It's not like he didn't get reps in the offseason. It's not like you didn't say he didn't learn the playbook, because he knows it, and he's played a lot of college. To be truthful, somebody asked me what's the difference between him and Tua, because they remind me of. I said the difference is Tua is only 2 years older than him and has been in the league 6 years.
Yeah.
He's already 25 and almost. So go ahead and put him out there, because at the end of the day, Joe Flacco playing, that was not, he was stuck in the mud.
Hey, listen. What are we doing? Again, we go talk about this cognitive dissonance. You keep telling me that Joe ain't playing well. You keep telling me all these things, but yet and still, you won't pull the trigger. You will not pull the trigger on what we need to do. But let me give you guys something. Here's the nature of losing football games. You can say all that with that energy. Everybody named Mom. Rosie, Mary Kay, Dee Dee, Jay, Jason Lloyd, whoever the case may be. People tell you, they're definitely coming back. Everybody's safe. The tide is turning. And I told you over here, if you in the barbershop, you've listened to me all summer. I told them, hold your peace. Be at peace. Be at ease. Because the true nature of football is this. You can say that on a Saturday in July during camp. Wait till these games start happening. Wait till you see in your team that you invest time, energy, and effort to go out on these Sundays and look terrible. Look non-competitive. It's going to change some minds, because it's unavoidable. You got to do your MJ. You looking at the man in the mirror. I'm looking for the man in the mirror. Yeah, you're going to make that change. When you see in the males, you change up quick. And let me show you how it starts slow. It starts at the bottom. It starts with the common folk, and it works its way up. It starts with the emotional people like myself at the bottom, right? Starts with us. And then what the calculation begins to be in the media is, hey, Kevin, I like you. I built a relationship with you. I'll probably get some inside information from you. But here's the thing, Kevin. We can't keep losing these games. And I'm putting my name next to your name. 0-1, yeah, I could say, a couple turnovers here or there with the Bengals. We could have won that game. 0-2, yeah, I know we got smoked bad, 41-17 on the road. Packers at home. You take an L this game, that's what begins to happen. in real time. Remember my analogy about the dark forest. When you mess around and you give that and when you giving them takes, it brings spotlight to your game that you can't even really give cover like that no more. Because once them L's start piling up and people start doing and moving around and stuff, it becomes difficult to lose credibility when you see a sinking ship. Let's talk about this. Earl the Pearl. Earl is he's a guy, that's my brother, that's my partner. I'm going to tell you about Earl. He's an emotional individual. He's going to tell you how you feel, and that might change from minute to minute. But the one thing that he's never changed is his love for the Cleveland Browns. As long as I've known him, he's always stood stand fast and talked about how Kevin Stefanski needs to get this and he needs another opportunity and all this other stuff. But even the losses start to compound and weigh on Earl the Pearl, who is from here. He got the area code tattooed on his arm. It says Landmade. Made by what Cleveland is as an individual. Watch his energy level. Watch it.
It's the same song and dance, and just like most fans, man, I'm getting tired of it. I feel like this. For up until the middle of last season, man, I was a Kevin Stefanski guy. I used to always come on this panel and talk about Kevin being a leader of men and how things like that galvanizes the troops and how things that don't show up on the football field matter. And it's like, man, to hell with all that BS, man. When the words start coming out about, certain players getting treated differently, or when we found out about the offensive coordinator calling the plays, the players found out at the same time. Yeah. It just seemed like to me like he compromised his credibility. And when you do that, it's hard to get that back. I was willing to give him a fair shot. Okay, clean slate. They brought you back. Maybe you've learned a lot over this 5-year tenure. Things is going to be different. You hire Tommy Rees, a young offensive mind, come from the college ranks. Okay, cool. This is going to help with the creativity of the offense. Outside of running a tougher camp than what you did last year, it's just the same old song and dance. The offense is stale. It's not creative. It lacks explosion. This offense under Kevin Stefanski has never ranked top 10 across the board in any statistic, and it just seems like he gets in front of the media. He get asked real questions. He never answer them, and then the fans always say, well, y'all don't hold him accountable and don't ask him anything. It's just like the wins is not there. The success is not there for us to keep going through the same thing, and I get it. Every year he's been here has been something. COVID, the Baker injury, the trade, the suspension, whatever. I get it. These the breaks. You're never going to have a perfect situation, man. Good coaches find ways to, get it done. It is hard to say watching this team be how they are, and I'm watching the Saints with Spencer Rattler score 20 points. But you're supposed to be like this guy, and then you're supposed to hire guys to come in and help make the situation better. And so it's like I don't have the same enthusiasm or optimism with this current regime. It sucks because I like continuity, but it is what it is. You've been here 6 years. You're supposed to be an offensive-minded coach. I can't keep making excuses for him, and I can't just keep resting on, I like Kevin as a person, so I think he should still be the Browns
Or
coach.
He won 2 Coach of the Year, which everybody brings up all the time.
I don't even care about the Coach of the Year.
I don't care either.
I like him as a person, but eventually that's not enough.
When the faithful get restless, they start to ask questions. What are we doing here? I give you the receipts because I want to show you. Everybody don't watch everything. Everybody don't watch everything. So what I'm trying to do is give you a perspective around the entire sports talk sphere about how L's compound and why when you say wins and games don't matter, it's all about 26. It don't be working out like that during the season.
That's the $1 million question.
Here we go.
What are we hanging our hat on?
I don't know.
That's the $1 million question. What are we so hell bent on? Because when you look at these numbers, right?
Here we go. First of all, this is courtesy. Make sure you guys go follow them. Honor the Land, right? Make sure you go check this out. A couple of young dudes do their podcast. Make sure you go out there and check them out. Salute and subscribe to their channel. Anybody that's doing podcasts or whatever, we appreciate it. Go out there and support people that's trying to do something. Let's continue going, right? So watch this. these young dudes talked about this, and watch the light bulb come on for them. Watch that light bulb. Like, hold on, whoa, you right, dog? What are we? Why are we infatuated with this?
What are we hanging our hat on?
I don't know.
That's the $1 million question. What are we so hell bent on? Because when you look at these numbers, right? I posted, I went down and I kind of did a deep dive of these numbers of why we are so content with mid, right? 2020, we were 14th in points per game at 25.5. 2021, we were 20th at 20.5 points per game. 2021, we were 18th in points per game. We were 10th. Our best season in 2023 was Joe Flacco with 23.3 points per game. Last year, we were 32nd with 15.4. 2024 wasn't just bad. It was historically bad. It was so bad that it was the 12th worst offense since 1978. If you take out some of those Jameis Winston games, it is literally the worst ever. That is under Kevin Stefanski. We fired AVP. We fired Ken Dorsey. We fired Mitchell Stump. We fired a tight ends coach. We've hired all these guys. And yet our offense is still the common denominator. We bring in a new defensive coordinator. We're number one the very next year.
Yeah.
At some point, when is enough a freaking enough?
Again, people is connecting the dots. People is connecting the dots. Well, hold on. I thought Kevin was a genius. I thought this Browns organization had everything that they. When you start to connect those dots, and you start to look that the track record ain't what people is talking about. And then you look at the drafting record and you're like, that's crazy too. You start to realize, I'm not about to take these L's. You selling me that we're going to take L's all this year and then you're going to come back and run it back next year? Think of how crazy this is. There are some people literally advocating that you play Joe Flacco as much and long as possible, lose as much as possible, play the rookies as least as possible to get to the next year and do the same thing. Because guess what? If they're still here, you'll have another quarterback competition next year. Only this time, you won't have any veterans. You'll have Dillon, Gabriel, Shadeur, Sanders, and whatever quarterback that they've named the savior. And then they'll have a competition, and we'll be doing quarterback tracker next year, talking about who they like. When in reality, it don't matter who they like. It's about whether or not they know how to coach and identify talent. That's it. It ain't like. It's how, can you do the job? But notice, watch these clips. It's getting more and more difficult to stand beside it. One person has been very forthright and very, I would say, fair. Some would say over the top fair for Kevin Stefanski is one Mary Kay Cabot. I had an opportunity. See, I opportunity. I get to talk to folks. Yeah, we up there every week now. Even Mary Kay and Tony Grossi are starting to show some wear and tear when it comes to standing in front of this Kevin Stefanski apology train. Notice the tone.
Where does this offense rank in terms of, you done seen a lot of offenses, and you done seen a lot of Cleveland Brown seasons. Where does this offense rank in terms of, it's like pulling teeth to get points. It's like watching paint. I mean, where does this rank? Because, I think.
She was moved right there. Watch when I say watching, like it's watching paint. I love human nature. I love nonverbals is crazy. Even she understands how nasty the work is. Watch. There was a mental reset here. Hold on. What the? He had to turn around like, you know what, doggone it? He's right. As much as I hate to admit, he's freaking right.
You done seen a lot of offenses, and you done seen a lot of Cleveland Brown seasons. where does this offense rank in terms of? It's like pulling teeth to get points. It's like watching paint. I mean, where does this rank? Because, I mean, I think over the last 8 games, they're averaging 13.5 points in this 8-game losing streak.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly not there yet. It's absolutely not a fully functioning offense by any stretch of the imagination to this point. I think that they went into this season really believing that they were going to rely heavily on a robust running game, and that has not happened yet. Of course, it didn't go the way they wanted. Quinshawn didn't show up until last week, practiced twice, went out, and did some nice things in that game, but it's going to be that much harder against the Packers this week. Those guys shut down the Lions. They shut down the Commanders, and it's not going to be easy to run the ball. So I don't think that has helped. I think that they were going to play good defense this year, run the ball, and then try to get good, clean quarterback play. Only one of those 3 things has happened so far, and that's the really good defense. Now they've got to get the offense up and running. And so far, we haven't seen the timing and the consistency yet between Joe and Jerry Jeudy, Joe and Cedric Tillman. He was 2 of 7 targets in this past game. He was stumbling and falling down. So we just haven't seen that yet. And Joe, I don't think he had enough time on task in preseason with these guys. It happened in the final 2 weeks of camp, but that's certainly not enough. The 4-way quarterback competition, I think, hurt everyone. And you can't do that. I hope they learn their lesson that you can't conduct a quarterback competition in training camp. You've got to get that figured out before you get to camp. You have to know who your quarterback is.
Man, it's been a lot of years of Kevin Stefanski having to still try to figure things out. I don't know, but
first of all, that was a nice little shot at the end, Bull. Been a lot of years since Kevin Stefanski's trying to figure this thing out. But did you notice? Mary Kay said, "Oh, he was stumbling around." I said, "What?" Okay. Did you notice? I hope they learned their lesson. Oh, okay. We like spicy Mary Kay when she talk about the Browns. Yeah, I like all the smoke. But I've been trying to tell y'all for how long, right? I've been trying to let y'all know how you gonna have a quarterback competition that was fraudulent. Yeah, the joint was fraudulent. And then everybody come out with less. Think about this question. The definition of a backup quarterback is he's always one play away, right? The backup quarterback is one play away, meaning that you have enough faith in him that if something was to happen, he's starting tomorrow. Is that correct? I know I'm just getting a baseline here. So if that is your rationale, and every time you mention that player and you say he's not ready, why is he the backup then? Nobody that is not ready can, by definition, be a backup. See, these is airtight. Listen, this is the Johnny Cochran playbook. This is the Johnny Cochran School of Football. This is airtight. If you say he's the backup and he's not ready to play, then by default he shouldn't be the backup. In that case, why didn't you keep Kenny Pickett? Here's why you didn't keep Kenny Pickett. You're flailing. You're throwing things at the wall. You're spitballing. You're doing shotgun evaluations. You took Kenny Pickett for a 5th-round pick, and you traded him for DTR, who couldn't play either. You got Kenny Pickett because you let the Ravens and you let the Steelers and all these other teams do the evaluation, and the Eagles do the evaluation. You let them scout him, them draft him, and then you take the leftovers and see if you can hit lightning in a bottle. But then you realize once you got him in camp, he really wasn't that good like everybody had told you. But then you can't lose face. You can't lose face. So you got to keep him around and tell him, oh, well, we need to trade him for what we got him for, a 5th-round pick. But y'all was cooking? That's considered cooking? No, you just didn't know who's good or not. Now you know because you had him. But the point is, when you're drafting a quarterback, which we will talk about here in a couple seconds, with the Barbershop Quarterback 2026 tracker, you don't have the opportunity to do that. You don't. Let's continue on. Mary Kay was sincere about it. She seemed like these losses might be adding up a little bit here. Let's see what good old Tony Grossi. I remember him saying that the Browns are going to get their guy in 26. Now, he's always been a Dillon Gabriel fan, but he talked about Dillon Gabriel he ain't going to play till December. He ain't going to play till January. It's courtesy of ESPN Cleveland. Seems like all that sooner, that later rather than sooner conversation isn't working out too well for you. Watch how he has to now slowly but surely creep and figure out that we're not about to play this all year.
When Gabriel gonna play on Sunday?
Well, if Flacco turns the ball over in the first half, he will.
See, Tone, you said 2 times, but I feel like if he throws a really bad pick and they're down 14-3, well, wouldn't you want to see what the kid can do? There is a chance that he'll play well and give the offense a spark it needs right now.
Yeah, I still have confidence that Flacco's not going to play that poorly to yank him. Although Gabriel's time is coming.
It's coming. They're salivating this
No
year.
doubt. Yeah. And by the way, I think he's going to do better than people expect. But let's
good.
That is yet to be seen, Tony. And I am patiently waiting for the supercomputer to get in. Waiting.
The longer
I hope so.
they can hold that off, the better. But that depends on Flacco.
They be saying that part out loud. The longer, this is how you know they be talking to these folks. This is how they be telling on themselves, and they be really knowing, right? They be really knowing. They be saying that part out loud. Yeah, this is the plan. We're going to slow play and wait these people out as long as possible. Problem is, you didn't expect to have the opposition party involved. I told you there will be no punting. I will be bringing receipts each and every day, weekly. If you feel like you're going to take L's and not play and waste my time and draft capital and waste the opportunity that we have to evaluate quarterbacks to get better to hoist that trophy, I like the Cleveland Browns more than I like the people in power. I want the Cleveland Browns to win more than I care about having something I can hold on the grasp to like a head coach. I want to win more than saying, hey, at least we got something that's familiar. You ever see somebody, they get out of college or something, and they end up going right back to their girlfriend that they dated in high school? You're like, why would you do that? You guys were a terrible couple in high school. You guys argued, you guys fought, like you guys were immature. What makes you think you're going to go back and rekindle something? Ain't the fact that they're trying to rekindle nothing or it's a great move. It's the fact that they just clinging on to anything that is remotely fond of heart and near and dear. You holding on to memories and something that's comfortable. So if you're going to be bad, let's be bad with at least 2 people that we know that we can be comfortable with, and Barry and Stefanski. But what happens if you take L's and you got to bring a new regime? Then I got to get used to people. Then I got to figure out what they're doing. Now I'm uncomfortable from week to week. I don't know what they are. I don't know what the press conference is going to be like. I don't know what players they want to pick. And it's starting over. Nobody wants to start over. Nobody wants to start over. People be trying to salvage houses during floods. Bro, there's all kind of asbestos and mold in there. Why you trying to save that house? No, they're not doing. They saving memories. That's what they're trying to save. Here's what we're going to do. Shout out to my guy, by the way. We'll talk about this coming up here in a little bit. Quarterback class 2026. Didn't move the post on that. But first, I got to give you this. When we talk about why it is that people don't necessarily are enthused about playing young guys, it goes back to the heart of what human nature is. It goes to the heart of what we do. In life, we seem to reward bad behavior. In life, we seem to reward mediocrity. In life, we reward bad behavior, terrible performance, not meeting expectations. Because we understand that expectations and high expectations are high and are difficult to do. And if you've never hit the expectations, and if you've never been anybody of significance, if you don't strive to do anything in your regular life, you don't want to be more, you just want to do the bare minimum, you don't want to go on vacation, you want to work for somebody else, you don't want to put the energy into doing what you need to do to better yourself, what makes you think that you're going to ever question anybody in authority? Because the thing that you always will say is they have to be there for a reason. You believe intrinsically that Kevin Stefanski is there in that position for a reason. Just the same reason you believe that the CEO of marketing is smarter than everybody, not because his dad knows the CEO, not because he grew up in the same neighborhood as the owner, or not because they belong to the same trust fund, right? We believe that people in our lives are elite for a reason, and we dare not question elite people because common people are common for a reason. It's part of the reason why the Cleveland Browns are where we are. We always give these characteristics to Kevin Stefanski without the proof. My young brother always once said, what are we hanging our hat on? Let me show you that I'm not lying. And I can show you in a way where every single American in this country can identify with it. I told you I had the receipts, and it's not for everyone. I can remember, I was old enough to remember, we've had a lot of financial crises, right? Put it in the chat. Who remembers the mortgage crisis in 2007, 8, 9? Remember that? Put a 1 in the chat if you remember that. Throw them ones up. Maybe you were one of those individuals who lost their job. Maybe you were an individual who lost your home. Maybe you were an individual that lost your life savings. Watch how brazen people are. When you say, do you think that you think the Cleveland Browns aren't trying to win? You're an idiot if you don't think that that's the first thing on their mind. No, it's not. Most people would say that the most motivating situation that hits people in the face is power and control. Now, let me show you that winning necessarily is not at the front of anybody's mind. Let me set this up. During the mortgage crisis, everybody in Wall Street, greedy, made dumb deals, doubled and tripled down, hoping that the market would continue to go out leveraging themselves. Banks and CEOs thought this was going to be, I can make money hand over fist. But in reality, the bubble was coming. In 2008, the American people had to bail out millions in CEOs and billions and got people who put themselves in that situation. Smarter than everybody? Not really. But let me show you how they think and how they reward themselves. Let's take a look at it.
A Congress was judging the hefty paychecks of the executives who run two government mortgage companies, known by their nicknames Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. Fannie and Freddie own half of all mortgages. Taxpayers had to bail out both companies, and Wyatt Andrews tells us that's why executives were feeling the heat on Capitol Hill.
Additionally, if anything could draw bipartisan anger in Congress, this was it. Huge paychecks and bonuses for top executives at Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, when those two agencies combined have cost taxpayers $169 billion, with the losses still mounting. The two CEOs who face the heat, Fannie's Michael Williams and Freddie's Charles Haldeman, earned $9.3 million and $7.8 million over 2 years, which gives them, Republican Darrell Issa said, the best taxpayer-financed jobs ever.
Okay, but you made $9.3 million in the last 2 years. Well, the president made $800,000. You think that's okay?
Democrats railed that those million-dollar payouts could have helped more Americans keep their homes. Congressman Adolphus Towns.
And then you look at these salaries, and one would say, wait a minute, why don't we take these salaries and save a whole block?
I understand the outrage.
Haldeman of Freddie Mac said he got the message, but he defended the bonuses. Executives juggling $900 billion in taxpayer-backed mortgages, he said, had to be the best.
The people that are required are highly skilled, sophisticated, seasoned people.
Highly skilled, sophisticated people. Where is the proof? You fumbled the bag. You bet wrong. You doubled down and people lost their jobs, their houses, their life savings. But you tell me you're highly competent and you understand. These are the cream of the crop. This is what they do. They tell you what they are. They distribute their own resumes and propaganda, and then we believe it. Sound familiar? They're geniuses. 3-14. 3-17 in the last 20 games. Do you guys honestly believe that, like, let me just show you this. You could probably still win 3 football games by simply doing this. Put yourself as the head coach, hire Jim Schwartz as your coordinator, go let Tommy Rees call his own plays, and you sit over there and you decide when you want to call timeout. Don't learn the plays, don't do anything. You don't have to know the strength and conditioning. Just sit there and chill out and post up. Do you guys understand that you can possibly win 3 out of 17 games and all you have to do is sit over there with the headset and hire a defensive coordinator? That's how easy it is to be that bad. But yet and still they tell you, this isn't just, I'm just showing you. Again, I'm letting you know why it is that we as humans fall for the same ruse and trick over every single system, whether it's in finance, whether it's in government, whether it's in politics, whether it's in religion, whether it's in sports. We sit here and we co-sign it because we believe the myth. They are where they are because they are there for a reason. Why do you think everybody is an Ivy League grad? Why do you think everybody looks the same, talks the same, gives you nothing? He talks in circles just like they talk in circles. You know why? They understand that they can just talk and say nothing and nothing will happen.
That have many, many opportunities for high-paying jobs.
One House committee has already voted, meanwhile, voted overwhelmingly to block all future bonuses anywhere at Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. Now, that's not likely to pass both houses of Congress, but Scott, that's a message from Capitol.
No, it's not a message. It still didn't pass, and they still getting bonuses. This is 20 years ago. They laugh at you, bail us out for doing a terrible job, and then give us bonuses. We'll continue on. Maybe y'all not educated on it. I'm going to just run it back so we can get to, I try to give you something.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Ranking Member Shelby. Before we get into the modernization of our insurance regulatory system, I do want to just say a couple things about AIG, specifically about what has transpired over the weekend on the $165 million bonuses. It was about 6 months ago that Secretary Paulson came into this committee and said that we need some significant money invested in the financial system. Otherwise, we will experience a financial meltdown. There were a lot of very, very difficult decisions that were made over the next few days that many people lost sleep over. A lot of taxpayer dollars were doled out. And there was a lot of discussion about additional compensation, particularly bonuses, to companies who were led down the wrong path, who were on the verge of going bankrupt. And now, once again this weekend, we hear of a company, AIG in particular, who has received $173 billion in taxpayer money, doling out some $165 million in bonuses to their employees, because supposedly it was the contract. Well, the fact is what would those contracts have been if the taxpayers wouldn't have bailed them out? That company would have been broke. Those people would be part of the 600,000 unemployed that occur in this country every month, and they would be on the street. So what do the taxpayers get for thanks for throwing $173 billion into a company like AIG? Continued bonuses, the same old way of doing business. And what do we hear? We hear, well, these bonuses have to be given out because this is our professional workforce. I can tell you that.
Sound familiar? You get your stadium, $600 million. All right. Guess where that money coming from? Ever notice this? The NFL is smart enough to do it. Ever notice how the NFL player salaries are listed? Contract length, guaranteed money, guaranteed dollars. It is all public knowledge. Voidable years. I could go look up any player right now and tell you down to the penny how much they make. Go find me a coach's salary. Go find me a general manager's salary. Go figure out how much they all make. It's not listed. It's not public knowledge. You know why? Because it's good to be outraged when a player is not playing well. And you can say, the public can always say, he's not worth the money. But what if you knew that Kevin Stefanski, for his 3 and 14 efforts, made $14 million a year? Then you would say $14 million for 3 and 14? See, these people are way smarter than we think. They're way smarter than we think.
This is incredibly unacceptable. And the fact is that these companies going broke, companies like AIG, it makes perfect sense to me now. If anybody did business like these folks do business, they'd be in the same boat. And all I have to say is, before I get into my brief statement, is if this is the way Wall Street and AIG and all the others continue to do business, we can't help them with any amount of money we put forth to them. This is ridiculous. And hopefully, there will find some way, I don't care, litigate it in court. This just isn't right to be occurring. It is not right to be occurring because this company would be out of business and those people would be on the street. And they need to understand that the only reason that they even have a job is because of the taxpayers and their ability to put forth money to this.
As always, I'm trying to just give you that work. We are moving to a conclusion here. We are coming to a conclusion, but I first must get to this. While we're doing the fallacy, we might as well get to this as well. Roll that beautiful bean footage. Where we at? What we've been told is there is the generational savior is coming. And what I've been doing is I've been tracking where the generational savior is. Seems that he's like Carmen Sandiego. I can't find him as I watch college football, prepared to watch it after we get off the barbershop. Shout out to my guy right here. God Music 96. Follow him on all these platforms. He put together something for me. He saw me the other day. He showed me something the other day. He sent me a montage that I'm going to play throughout this next skit. And he only did it the way he can do it, boy. He did it up nice. Go follow him on Instagram. Go follow him on TikTok. Go follow him on YouTube. He put a montage and a mix-up of the way I talk about the 26 class. Quarterbacks in 26. Say it again. The quarterback in 26. It's almost the same. Like I woke up in a new Bugatti. The quarterback's in 26. You got to drive the car. The quarterback's in. You know what I'm saying? But I did a rendition. Shout out to him about the hero and savior. And he brought it to us. Let's play that real quick. Make sure y'all check him out.
Listen, this segment is sponsored by Mr. Hero. We always looking for one. I can be your hero, baby. You just looking for one. What did you eat this morning? My breath. Y'all been looking for one. I don't see it. I don't see it. See it. See it.
What they be looking for, G. Bush?
Hey, listen, this segment is sponsored by Mr. Hero. We always looking for one. I can be your hero, baby. You just looking for one. What did you eat this morning? My breath. Y'all been looking for one. I don't see it. I don't see it. See it. See it. See it.
Listen, we don't see it, man. We got to figure some things out. We don't see it. Speaking of, let's go ahead and let's get these heroes together. Let's get the heroes together. Let's talk about the first hero. Oh boy. Arch. They done moved Arch down so much. They done moved, he had an apartment off campus. They moved him all the way back to the dorms. Or they done moved Arch all the way back to the dorms. Week 1, it was Ohio State. Week 2, by the time they got to all this situation in week 2, it was a problem. They're like, listen, we ain't even gonna talk about Arch. This is wild work. He does not look good, period. Forget talking about top 25 and whatever. He looks like he might want to go ahead and see if there's an extra COVID year available for him. That's where we at with Arch Manning, right? Let's keep pushing. And I got some more receipts. I'm not going to do too much. I just wanted to get the pictures. I want you to put the names with the faces so that when these dudes play on Saturday, I need you to pull up and watch. Hey, man, I like Sellers, but let me tell you something. If you think he's going to come out here and he's a natural thrower to football, no, he's a great athlete. But go watch that South Carolina Gamecocks team. Nasty work on offense. The offense looks sluggish. It looks like it's herky-jerky. It looks like they can't complete passes over a certain amount of field, and it looks like they're out here just freelancing. I'm just saying, who's your guy? I gave you the stats last week, and you're going to hear from a guy who's telling you about this quarterback class. By the way, let me tell you something. This is wild work. Dillon Gabriel and Shadeur Sanders numbers, if these dudes put the numbers they put up last year, people will be losing their mind. These guys won't put up a third of them numbers this year at this pace. A third. If any of these dudes had Shadeur Sanders stats in college, they'd be with the least amount of talent playing in the Power 5. Don't act like Shadeur Sanders was playing in the MAC. He played in a Power 5 conference. Stop playing. Let's talk about this guy. Put the names with the faces. This guy, I wouldn't touch him with a 10-foot pole. He just looks like a guy that's just confused with a Browns jersey on. He's the guy after 4 or 5 years, they talk about give him a chance. He has all the intangibles. He has all the tools. He just needs to put it together. If you can't put it together on the road at Georgia Tech, Cade Klubnik, under no circumstances, where is the generational savior? Where is it? Where is it? Huh?
Listen, this segment is sponsored by Mr. Hero. We always looking for one. I can be your hero, baby. You just looking for one. What did you eat this morning? My breath. Y'all been looking for one. I don't see it. I don't see it. See it. See it.
Where is it at? You tell me in the chat. Where is it at? You put it in the chat. Where is it at? Put it in the chat. Where is it at? Put it in the chat. I'm looking for it. I'm looking for it. Let me see. I got another one to pull up. This guy. This guy. He looks like a dude that just, with a brown jersey all brown. He just been sacked 10 times. Look confused for the Browns. Huh? Where's it at? I seen you play against Florida. Nasty work. I gave the stats last week. I'm going to be watching this week too, buddy. And just so you know, let me watch how this conversation around the situation that moved. By the way, when is the last time you heard about that quarterback 26 class from any local people in the Cleveland market? Fan base, media members, where is the savior? Oh, quarterbacks in 26. Oh, quarterbacks in 26. Right, Bugatti. Oh, quarterbacks in 26. See the same energy level. Let's go ahead and share my screen. Watch how this college football analyst, he done took the whole class and reshuffled it. Let me show you. Let me show you. Let me show you. Let me share this screen. Let me share this screen. Joe Klatt, college football big noon. He didn't wipe down the whole list. He got the whole list wiped down. Let's go talk about it.
If you're not watching, if you're on YouTube, you can check this out. And again, go subscribe, go over to YouTube. You can check this out. My list looks like this. At number 10, I had Carson Beck of Miami. At number 9, Luke Altmaier from Illinois. 8 was Lenoris Sellers from South Carolina. 7 was DJ Lagway from Florida. Woof. 6 was Garrett Nussmeier at LSU. 5 was Drew Aller at Penn State. 4 was Sam Leavitt at Arizona State. Obviously, the returning quarterback there after they won the Big 12 championship. At number 3, a lot of belief from me in the offseason about John Mateer at Oklahoma. And then my top 2 quarterbacks going into the year were number 2, Arch Manning, and number 1, Cade Klubnik. Klubnik, of course, from Clemson. This is obviously going to look a lot different. Now, you heard a lot.
It's a lot different in 3 weeks. Generational don't change in 3 weeks. See, that's what I'm telling y'all. Generational don't change in 3 weeks. You can't fall out of love when you in 3 weeks. You can't have a child in 3 weeks. When you're talking about generational, generations is like centuries and decades, bro. How are you changing this up in 3 doggone weeks? This is just from the spring. Watch the energy he bring to it. He like, listen, let me tell y'all.
A lot of what I had to say about Garrett Nussmeier and DJ Lagway in Monday's show. So please, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on those guys right now. They're not going to be on this list of best performers so far through 3 weeks this year. If you want to hear what I had to say and specifically about DJ Lagway, go check out that show from Monday.
He said he can't put him on the list this year. How your board, how your big board get wiped down so quickly? He said, I got to move Nussmeier and Lagway all the way off the board. They're not going to make this list this year. Oh, goodness. Oh, keep going. Keep going.
Now, a couple of other of these guys have played really well, but whether it's been the lack of strength of schedule and or just better play from others around the country, my list is going to look dramatically different. Now, I do want to give you a bit of a caveat here, is this next list is not going to be my top 10 draft or my top 10 quarterbacks. It's just best performers from the 3 weeks. But before we get there, I did want to just give you a bit of a thought on some of these guys that were high profile coming into the year that have certainly struggled. Their teams have certainly struggled during the short beginning of this season here in September. Let me start with Lenora Sellers at South Carolina. That fell off a cliff awfully fast, didn't it? South Carolina's offense has been abysmal the entire year. It doesn't matter who they have played. You know, small school, what was it? South Carolina State. Bigger school, Virginia Tech, who ends up 0-3 and firing their coach. They haven't played quality offense against anybody. So what happened last week against Vanderbilt wasn't actually that much of a surprise. And in fact, the bigger surprise is that they were moved down in the AP poll. They were ranked 11th in the country. They should not have been ranked 11th in the country. That was all preseason bias for South Carolina because they had played awful on offense.
This is why this is dangerous. This is dangerous because you got people that's in your area that watches this team that are telling you that not only you don't know how to evaluate quarterbacks, but you done got to a point where you gonna tell me I'm not playing none of the guys we got just so we can fast forward and get to these guys? It's malpractice. It's malpractice. And by the way, who was the first one to ever say that? There will be no shooters. There will be no others that come after me that say this type of noise. Because I've been telling you, I made them say, who you like so much. I told you last year they wasn't no good. If they were so great this year, they would have came out in this draft that was so weak. Couldn't none of them beat Cam Ward out? Couldn't none of them be better than Dillon Gabriel in the third round? Stop playing with me, bro. Stop playing. I told you that from Jump Street. Everything that I'm telling you, you tell me whether or not I was lying about it. And by the way, for all those that say, oh, it's still early, it's still early, it's still early, it's funny how you got it's still early for people you ain't never seen play, but you will refuse to have that same energy level for the people that's on your roster today. I don't need to see them. I don't need to see them. How you don't need to see the people on your roster that you could play, but yet still you want to see more from people that you don't even. Remember what I said. It ain't about whether they're ready to play. It's whether or not you ready to see them play. Irrefutable evidence. Continue on, Mr. Joe Clack. Talk about why your saviors are not looking that good.
Including Lenora Sellers. It looked great the very first drive of the season. They go down the field, Sellers runs for a touchdown. You think to yourself, okay, preseason hype justified. Sellers is going to be a really good player. And then since then, it's fallen off the face of the map. In fact, even with weaker opponents, they've played 3 football games. And after that first drive, they've only scored 4 offensive touchdowns the rest of the season. That's crazy. So none of it's been good. Sellers has not been good. The rest of the offense have not been good. The only reason that they were able to beat Virginia Tech really in week 1 and even a bit in week 2 score points is they had 3 punt returns for touchdowns, which covers up a lot of those woes on the offensive side. So they've been struggling.
All right. So yeah, that's one down. Let's go to a couple more. Let's get to Cade Klubnik, who they have the Browns taking with the #1 overall pick. Let's talk about him. What are your assessments on Cade Klubnik? Let's get to it.
Everything's bad for that offense. You looked at the number of returning starters for Clemson. In this day and age, when we've seen the last 2 national champions, Michigan 2 years ago and Ohio State last year, have several returning starters. And you can look at that blueprint, and then you looked at Clemson in the offseason and you thought to yourself, man, that experience is going to pay huge dividends. This is going to be an incredible team. They've got experience at quarterback. They've got 4 offensive linemen back. A bunch of stuff to like. They've got elite players on the defensive side, and they have not played well at all.
So you telling me that the kid who got 4 offensive linemen back, elite playmakers at receivers, guys on the defensive line on the opposite side that are veterans that will be highly picked draft picks, you telling me that the same kid that got all of this and is throwing for 211 pass yards per game and just lost at Georgia Tech is going to come into Cleveland next year and be the savior with no offensive lineman under contract, with Jerry Jeudy and Cedric Tillman as your best receivers. This is your savior? This is your king? Put it in the chat. I need to see it. Put it in the chat. Where is it at? Put it in the chat. I need it. Bro, come on. This is what we talking about?
All. To me, the Clemson problems on offense are a more holistic problem than specific to Klubnik. Okay? He's been under duress. They have not been able to run the football. Antonio Williams, his best wide receiver, has not been on the field. So I don't want to pin this directly on Klubnik, even though he has not played well. I'm not trying to give him a pass by any stretch of the imagination, but I am telling you it's more than Klubnik, and it's a holistic problem, which leads me to believe I don't know where the fix is for Clemson. I don't know if it's going to get a lot better for
He doesn't know where the fix is. You have professional receivers, high draft picks, and a great defense, and 4 returning starting offensive linemen, and a quarterback who's played a ton of football. He doesn't know where the fix is. And these are the people that you're selling your soul for. Losing games. Our quarterback is in 26. Generational class.
Clemson during the course of the year. There's nowhere where I can be like, hey, if they just have this small tweak, if he just plays a little bit better, if they get that guy back and healthy. They're saying it's Antonio Williams, but I'm just telling you right now, I think it's a bigger deal than one player.
Where is it at? Put it in the chat. Where is it at? Put it in the chat. Hey. Let's keep going. Where's the number one savior? Get to this number one savior. We've been on this from day one. Let's get to it.
Arch Manning has played really poor so far this year. Really poor. Nothing has looked solid. It's very different from the Klubnik and Sellers conversation because I don't think it's holistic. I do think that there is real pieces on that offense. They've got quality wide receivers. They've got quality backs. They're good up front. Now, have they played their best around him? Probably not. But this is, to me, a more specific Arch issue with their offense. So what's going wrong? Well, 10 straight incompletions against UTEP.
10 straight incompletions versus UTEP. This is you. The UTEP stands for the. Hey, babe. I know you watch major college football, but have you ever heard of the University of Texas El Paso? No. Okay. All right. I'm just checking. The University of Texas El Paso, 10 straight. But G. Bush, it was Ohio State in the shoe. It was in the shoe. And he had so much stuff. He looked great in the University of Texas, El Paso. And he came out again. I mean, Joe Clatt, you just continue to prove my point. Texas got receivers, linemen. They stacked. They're stacked. I know people going to be mad. People might be mad. It might not be for everybody, but now you can rewind this beautiful bean footage when people start talking that crazy work to you.
He's completing 55% of his passes overall. That's the second worst in the SEC. But then when you look at throws that actually cross the line of scrimmage and go downfield at all, not 5 yards, not 10 yards, just cross the line of scrimmage, he's completing 46% of his passes. Something is wrong right now with the game of Arch Manning. Something is wrong. He's clearly not comfortable. So
maybe, just maybe, he's not that good. Now, compare these numbers. I'll bring them up after this. I promise you I will bring them up after this. I promise you I will bring them up after this, and be ready for it.
Let's go into this. And I went back and I watched all of his attempts from that UTEP game. And let me preface this by saying, like, when you're going to watch a quarterback that's still young in his career, which Arch is still young in his career. Here's typically what I look for, just so that you guys know when I'm watching, and maybe when you're watching as well. For young quarterbacks that don't have a ton of experience, the first thing you have to look for is the speed of the game affecting their play. Okay. And it looks like that's the case with Arch. It looks like that's the case with Arch. Even with his games that he was able to start and play in early last year, it didn't really translate.
Let me just show you how the game gonna go move. Now, remember all this generational conversation? Watch this man switch. Watch him go to his final, get to his final. This is his final class right here. We're gonna fast forward a little bit. Ask yourself, out of the top 10 dudes, how many of them are still top 10?
Does some of the other guys on this list? No. But he goes out there.
Now, Mateer, Carson Beck are the only two people that still made this list. Dante Moore, Gunnar Stockton, Haynes King, Tommy Castellanos, Rocco Beck, Joey Aguilar, Jaden Maiava, and Julian Sain. By the way, Julian Sain, I'm not a believer in him, any of Buckeye fans. I see my Bobcats go down there. He was looking quite terrible first half. I'm just saying. You get the point. You understand it. Let's stop sharing my screen. Y'all understand. Y'all get the point. The point is, these folks been looking for a hero for years. A generational savior to come on a white steed. And there is no generational savior. It's completely fabricated, made up, based on a rosy half glass full ideology about what you think is a great quarterback. Just because his last name is Manning and he says all shucks does not mean you're good. Just because you have a cool name like Cade or Gunner or Tanner, like, that don't mean you can sling the football. You let your hair grow out and get locks out the back like Trevor Lawrence don't mean you nice. But to a lot of people, that's what equates as good. Let me just show you to put in perspective. Let me show you to put in perspective so we can understand what we're looking at right now. And when they tell you why Shadeur Sanders don't got stats, his stats is better than everybody, double them up. Give his stats to one of these dudes. If you take his stats at Colorado and give it to him, to these dudes, all of a sudden, he's a generational quarterback. Give him, here we go. Let me just go ahead and snip this because I want you to see it. Because guess what? We always talk about it. If the facts aren't on your side, argue the process. If the process and the facts ain't already on your side, yell like hell. He's just not ready. He's just not ready. Why don't you do 2 hours? Calm down. You're hyperventilating. He's just not ready. That means the numbers and the stats ain't on your side. And that generational coach that you was coming around, look, I didn't even know his numbers was like that. Good gracious, this dude's numbers is ridiculous. Oh my gosh. This dude, he got better numbers than I thought it was. I had to double check. It's on StatMuse. Good gracious. Let's go ahead and save this, boy. Man, let me show you. If they had numbers like this, can you imagine what they would call these guys? Huh? Let me take this down so you can see this. Look at these numbers. He only threw 3 interceptions, 27 touchdowns, 3 picks in 2023. 4,100 yards. Where? What? Oh yeah. 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 Bro, he oh my goodness. This is bad, man. This is nasty work. This is nasty work. Let me see. Hold on, give me this. This man ain't put up no yards. What are you talking about? His numbers ain't even better than his. K. Klubnik's numbers is nowhere near his. Arch Manning played 4 games. They don't even got Dillon Gabriel's numbers. Nasty work. Nastiest work. We're going to get to the super chats. And I always tell you.
Listen, this segment is sponsored by Mr. Hero. We always looking for one. I can be your hero, baby. You just looking for one.
What did you eat this morning?
My breath. Y'all been looking for one. I don't see it. I don't see it. See it.
Let's get to the super chats. Shout out to my guy for that beautiful rendition. Make sure you go follow him on social media. Appreciate you. Let's talk about it. Y'all ready to talk? We're going to get y'all in. Y'all ready to go? Yoshi Doshi. First sat in 20 years without my cat. Not much to say. Thank you for being here, man. Go Gabriel, a.k.a. Sipe. Go Sanders, a.k.a. Cunningham. Go Browns. Go Guards, man. Hey, I want to shout out to you. Sometimes it's difficult going through certain things, especially when you lose a pet. And a lot of times, pets are like sometimes better than, they treat you better than humans do. They don't ever leave you. They're always there to comfort you. They're always there to give you that little reassurance. And I understand how difficult it is. So I appreciate you reaching out, and I am sorry for your loss because, a lot of times where we are, who we are, and we might not have a lot of people in our lives. And sometimes our animals and our pets are part of our family and support system. So I appreciate you tuning in. And, I hope you get better and move on and always remember the good times you had. RDM, G. Bush. G. Bush just saw a new article that last year, 25 GMs polled, 9 of them had Shadeur as at number 1 in the draft. I wonder what happened. Goes back to my thesis that we talked about a little bit earlier, right? My thesis earlier was that when you are dealing with the face of the franchise, it's are you willing to then let that person represent you? That's what it's about. There's a lot of things that people ain't look. Give the Baltimore Ravens credit. The Baltimore Ravens chose Lamar Jackson, who is a running quarterback, who chose to have his mother represent him as a woman and as a black woman and as a mother, a family member, and who wears his hair in braids, looks a certain type of way, runs a certain type of way, plays his game a certain type of way. And you know what they said? We had Joe Flacco, but we ain't willing to, we are willing to pivot and go get Lamar Jackson because we feel like he has what it takes. And that's the eye of Ozzie Newsome, which I respect. It ain't about the ideology or what you look like or how you moving. It's the fact that we believe that what you have inside, it can move and motivate and get us to the next level. A lot of people ain't trying to go to the next level. They're interested in staying in control and in power. Well, I don't what next level? The level is what I say it is. JT Humphries, how broken is Northeast Ohio's confidence in the game they invited? Does Southern Ohio run the state? Yeah, pretty much. Joe Burrow If you look at Southern Ohio, I will say this: Southern Ohio is united. I don't care how many times Joe Burrow get hurt. It's Joe Burrow. They're like, he'll be back. Cool. They just keep rolling. In Northeast Ohio, we have no king. We got a bunch of, we have a kingdom in the North, and we have a very great fighting spirit of our soldiers. But the reality of the situation is you can have the greatest army in the world, but if you ain't got a united leader to go behind, you're not going to win no football games, and they're going to be all over the place. We got factions of people that some people, like, we got people that's still in the Deshaun Watson camp. We got people still talking about Baker Mayfield. We still got people wondering whether Stefanski should stay or go, or is AB a good coach or not, or a GM or not, or whether or not the quarterbacks we got are any good. Some people like Dillon Gabriel. Some people like Shadeur Sanders. Some people think ridiculously that the savior's in 26. But that's what happens when you lose for so long. You don't know what winning looks like at all, my brother. Shout out to JT, my college roommate. I went down there. We saw OU do their thing. Shout out to him. It's kind of crazy. You never would have thought your best friend in the world is a big country white. Shout out to JT and his wife, Laura. I've known them for 30 years. We appreciate you, man. Nancy, G, does Kevin know 12 name? Why go for a quarterback who is he going to throw to? Even if you get a quarterback, he has no one to throw to. Quarterbacks aren't playing that good. This is the problem that we have when you look for saviors and heroes. You throw all caution to win, and you don't understand what it takes to actually get to go where we need to go. The reality of the situation is you got two quarterbacks in here. Do I believe in Dillon Gabriel necessarily? Not really. Right? But at the end of the day, I can always say if you believe in it, give him the opportunity to show and prove. I've always said, I am not for none of that garbage, run around, smoke screen conversation talk that they be having. You got two quarterbacks, play them, because I want to see if the coach can coach. I want to see if he got what it takes. I want to see, can he call up a game plan and pivot? But you talk about going to get a quarterback next year, which if you don't have the worst pick in the draft, you might not even get the best quarterback. But you talk about using a first-round pick on them. You don't have no receivers. You have no offensive lineman under contract next year except for DeJuan Jones. And he is getting pulled out of the game because he's AKA ineffective, not blocking the right people, and he has a problem with heat. And you got Cedric Tillman and Jerry Jeudy dropping the football. Come on, man. I've been talking to you for how long on these podcasts about getting receivers? We still don't get none. Pat Williams, Kevin Stefanski, Patrick Williams, thank you so much for the super chat. Stefanski seems like he's lying on every interview and has ulterior motives and don't give a you-know-what about developing players. The regime needs to be fired. Again, it's not I just, look, Tom Brady said it. Maybe some people just can't coach. Maybe some people just can't coach. Again, let me show you this. I'm going to give you the work. Maybe some people just don't coach. Patrick, let's show you.
Hanging our hat on.
I don't know.
That's the $1 million question. What are we so hell-bent on? Because when you look at these numbers, right? I posted, I went down and I kind of did a deep dive of these numbers of why we are so content with mid, right? 2020, we were 14th in points per game at 25.5. 2021, we were 20th at 20.5 points per game. 2021, we were 18th in points per game. We were 10th. Our best season in 2023 was Joe Flacco with 23.3 points per game. Last year, we were 32nd with 15.4. 2024 wasn't just bad. It was historically bad. It was so bad that it was the 12th worst offense since 1978. If you take out some of those Jameis Winston games, it is literally the worst ever. That is under Kevin Stefanski. We fired AVP. We fired Ken Dorsey. We fired Mitchell Stump. We fired a tight ends coach. We've hired all these guys. And yet Our offense is still the common denominator. We bring in a new defensive coordinator. We're number 1 the very next year.
Yeah.
At some point, when is enough of freaking enough?
There you go. Shout out to Honor the Land. Make sure you go check them out. But you see what it is. You see it. Simply Stephanie, thank you so much for the super chat. We appreciate you. Sapper Daddy. This is a power struggle. The Ivy League dudes have never liked people like Shadeur. They want people they can control. That's why they are playing Joe. They don't want the status quo upended and the control-based power in the NFL. I actually agree with it. I'm not going to try to play the like middle ground. Like listen, I done worked in corporate America before. See, it's a lot of people. Let me just tell you something. See, this is the advantage of getting into this industry and having to work in corporate America during the same time you started your career. I was in corporate America 20 some odd years. I understand how corporate America and the Ivy League and those things go, because more than anything, when you are hiring somebody at certain positions, you are hiring predictability, and you are eliminating any sort of deviance when it comes to certain things. You want to hire consistency. I'm hiring you for this role. This is the chain of command. This is how things are done. If you are outside of that in any way, shape, or form, you are considered a semi-threat. Yes, you can be a genius. Think about it. Steve Jobs, even for as great and brilliant as he is, he had to roll out because Steve Jobs was a disruptor. Do you think, let me think about this. Do you think that somebody you're paying $300, $400, $500 million, do you think that they want them pulling up in the projects? Just, yeah, something happened, tragedy happened in the project. I'm going to pull up to the projects. Do you think if he would have asked before he went, that would be something that they would give him permission to do? Hey, Patrick Mahomes not going to the projects. Hey, I'm not sure. I ain't sure Josh Allen going to the projects. Is that, do you think that they want their franchise quarterback making rap music? They preferably may not like the fact that you got 100,000, 200,000 in jury. They may not like that you go to a club and you got rappers donating $1 million. Let me show you some love, give you $1 million in a suitcase. It's foreign. It's kind of off-putting. Like, what are you doing? Come on, man. Let's stop pretending, bro. Like all that. People be pretending too much, but listen. I like jewelry. I like rap music. kind of understand how people view it in certain circles. Tommy Reese said that they don't want quarterbacks to go off script. No good quarterback will thrive in Cleveland. This explains why Kevin doesn't seem happy with Shadeur in the Carolina game. That's another thing. The best coaches and the best quarterback coach relationship is based upon the relationship of vibing and flowing. Right? Let me give you this. Executives and coaches do this a bunch. Executives and coaches will tell you specifically, you know what? I feel like we need to reset. I feel like do you know half the reason the Chicago Bulls, the greatest dynasty ever, a lot of people say it's the greatest dynasty, broke up? Is because of Krause and Reinsdorf. The general manager, in all of his arrogance and all of his ignorance, thought that I put this team together then I could put another one together. What type of, yeah, the Bulls were getting a little older. It's the Bulls. They just had won 3 in a row twice. Any competitor would say, I'm not going to give this up until we lose. But you know what he did? Nah, I'm going to get in a fight with Phil Jackson. I want to have a power struggle. I'm the guy. Oh, Scottie Pippen, I'm going to underpay you. Scottie Pippen was underpaid severely to a point where it was like, I got to go find something else somewhere else because this is crap. He's like, oh, you know, Jordan loves Phil Jackson and won't play for anybody. So let's get rid of Phil Jackson. That way Jordan doesn't come back. It's Michael Jordan. See, the point is, at some point when you hang around greatness for so long, you actually fool yourself into thinking you're great. When you're just a steak eater. You're just in the back of the bus getting driven around. You're a guest. But what happens is you get these Ivy League people who believe that it is their birthright, their aristocratical, just aristocrat lifestyle that we got to control Silicon Valley. We have to control Congress. We have to control every single money market firm in the world. And now it wasn't good enough. Let's go ahead and put our tentacles all in sports. And the only thing that matters is our analytic behavior and our calculators and our short, dry personality, because we are so smug that we believe we know everything and you know nothing. We don't have to tell you anything. We don't have to show you anything. We don't have to explain ourselves because we are the elite. You shall stay in your place and know your place. But that's why I like independent content. Because, see, I'll put it together. I'll put it together. I'm just showing you. I ain't Ivy League. Oh, you got a real nice education program. And I'm not going to, you can't gaslight me. I know what it is. Try to act like you. Stop. Stephanie, we appreciate you. Kirk Davis, shout out to you. Always, my man Kirk Davis is always in the building. Front office don't know what they are doing. The Browns should change the name to the Can't Get Right. Kirk, I appreciate you. Alexa, Alexa, play our quarterbacks in 26 for us. Yes, our quarterbacks in 26 by G. Bush of the Barbershop. Our quarterbacks in 26. Our quarterbacks in 26. I'm sorry. It's early still. Shadeur needs to play, get the feel the NFL in order to adjust and achieve greatness. Facts. They are setting him up to fail. Matt Perry Thomas, I appreciate you, my brother. But here's the thing about the best laid plans of mice and men often go awry, like I always tell you. Can't stop it. The plan is already accelerating. We now are in week 3, and we are already talking about Dillon Gabriel plan. That is 5 to 6 weeks. That's ahead of schedule of what they want to do. Remember, the goal is to lose, keep everything under wraps, don't play these young dudes, and get to next year so now you can restart the clock. Because think about it. If you get to next year and you draft your quarterback, nobody wants to get rid of a quarterback or get rid of a general manager and coach that drafted the quarterback, because guess what happens? That gives them another year of security a little bit, because now the ownership says, if I bring in another coach and GM, that coach and GM is going to want their quarterbacks. I don't want to pick between Dillon Gabriel, Shadeur Sanders, and Kate Klubnik or Garrett Nussmeier or Arch Manning. I want my own quarterback. So guess what? They're automatically going to get another season, not this year, but next year. And then after they get that year, what they'll say is this. Well, you know, G. Bush, we had to use all our picks to get the quarterback. And you know our offensive line, and we don't have any weapons. You have to get us weapons and offensive linemen. So now you're going to have to do that the next year. Now, if you do the math, that's 3 years down the line. That means they done been here 9 years. 9. Still talking about why they can't get it right. Boy. Reagan Browning. How is it that Dillon Gabriel gets all these first-team reps in training camp, but they turn around and say he's not ready? Make it make sense. It don't. It don't make no sense. They just talking. They're just talking. Bro, he's 24. He's played the most games of any college quarterback ever. He's 2 years younger than Tua, and Tua's been in the league 6 years. But yet still they're advocating to sit him for how long? To win. He's 28. Then he'll be ready to play magically. He got all the first-team reps. He's been getting all the money off. The reason why they do not want to play him that early is because once they start playing him, the evaluation is not only on Dillon Gabriel, but is on Kevin Stefanski, who has never had to be accountable for anything that he has done. It's fire Dorsey. It's fire. Baker wasn't good enough. He was immature. Oh, Deshaun was hurt, and then he wasn't good no more. It was the offensive line. We didn't have a good offensive line. Now, it's the same offensive line you had last year that I told you wasn't that good. But Deshaun Watson was the quarterback. You didn't like him, so that means it was time to make Deshaun Watson garbage. But now you're like, well, the offensive line ain't there. Well, I told you they weren't there last year. Now it's like, oh, we don't got receivers. How long I told you that in 2019, 2020. What are you talking about? The evaluation is upon you. They don't want that evaluation to start this year. They want the pressure to get to next year. And the reason why 2026 is the landmark is because if they start a rookie quarterback, then the pressure still won't be on the coach because they'll say he's a rookie quarterback. What did you expect? Refute it. Let me know. Put it in the chat. You refute what I'm saying. I need it in the cut. When this drops on demand, you tell me I'm lying. And you give me a reason why. You can't give me one quote. I done gave you videos, statistical data, and analysis as to why this has never been about winning. It's about keeping jobs and keeping power. That's it. Gee, this is Barber Dave. Love your barbershop. Go Browns. Appreciate you. Barber Dave, what's up? I see you down in there, man. In other words, Bubba Dub. These are trash. Hey, listen, Dragon the Ambassador. Hey, look, hey, that's old news, dog. We on Mendoza and Dante Moore now. and Dragon the Ambassador, here's the thing. These two might be good. As a matter of fact, it could be anybody be good. Here's what I'm pushing back on. I'm not pushing back on the individual players. All of them is players. They're going to have to take their own journey and path to get to where they're going. The point I'm making is I'm making fun of what the media does. My brethren do mental gymnastics and do backflips over these people. You say they're generational, but they don't be watching them play. You say they're generational, but then you got to take somebody else's word for it. You say they're generational, but you couldn't tell me the last time you saw a Clemson game. Why are you saying that? Don't say things if you ain't really seen it or meant it or being about it, bro. I'm making fun of the fact that that's what we do. We are like sheep. If enough people say it, we gonna say it. Now, all of a sudden, 3 games in, generational in turn 2. We got to get some more people around here. Beautifully blessed. I've been waiting on you. Love, you're not letting up on them. Stay on their necks. Beautifully blessed as always. You got no time to be playing. The receipts is out. The time is near. It's coming faster and faster as we approach. Y'all try to sit up here and tell me. That's why they got articles, Diana Rossini. You know what? Things got to get weird for 12 to play at all this year. Stop playing with me. Y'all can keep recycling that propaganda. I don't go to the ivory tower. I didn't get the email that I wasn't supposed to talk about no other quarterbacks, but I don't go see the Wizard of Oz. And I'm not talking about Ozzie Newsome. I don't go up to the ivory tower. And they're not going to disseminate no emails on me talk about what I got to say. Just saying. Where is it at? Put it in the chat. Where is it at? Put it in the chat. I'm looking for it. That generational. Jay Carter, I appreciate you. Appreciate you, as always. Jimmy in Cleveland. What if Joe gets injured Sunday? Are they going to have to be ready then, Kev? This is why the barbershop is needed. Because we give ammunition to the people. We give ammunition to the people. So when they come with them dumb quotes, you can break down like, nah, we've been studying in the barbershop. We've been studying your talking points and they don't work. He's the backup quarterback. What you mean he ain't ready to play? By definition, a backup quarterback is a person that needs to have the game plan, the calls, the checks ready to go every single week. When he's in the huddle, guess what? He got the headset on with them in the huddle, hearing the play call. When they put the play in, he's back there thinking, okay, I got to be in this game because if he go down, I got to call these same plays. What you mean he's not ready? Again, you're just not ready to see him. 2 different things. Reverend B.J. Nelson, G. Bush got me hollering. I appreciate you, OG. Oh. The Kool-Aid Mafia. G. Bush bad neck. Kool-Aid Mafia. How I long and miss the Kool-Aid Mafia. I long for the days of sipping a long, tall glass of Kool-Aid of the Cleveland Browns winning optimism. Maybe, just maybe, that thirst shall be quenched again by Kool-Aid, and the Mafia will return. Maybe it comes with a new quarterback, a new change. And by the way, I am not opposed to it. I am the General El Capitan of the Kool-Aid Mafia. Beautiful logo right there. We just trying to get back to that. John Mateer looked pretty good against Michigan. I like him. But do you trust Kevin Stefanski to get the best out of him? He seems to be off schedule a lot. He seems to not be able to stay inside of structure a lot. Kevin's dry, old attic basement mothballs offense. Best college town in Ohio? Athens. What are you talking about? Is that a question? Athens, Ohio. Now, here's the thing. I've partied, and JT, as you know, we've partied in many cities. We've gone to Huntington, West Virginia. Good time. Morgantown, West Virginia. Good time. Cincinnati. Columbus at Ohio State. Different time. Boy, the stories I could tell. Athens, to me, is the best. Because it's the only college town you can go around and be somebody without doing nothing. You could be the man at OU and don't play nothing. You just got to throw good parties and be in the bar a lot. The Bankhead bounce for 26. Go Bobcats. Dondi, I see you. G. Bush, give us your top 5 coaches to potentially head coach the Cleveland Browns. Just curious. Greg Castellanos. It's tough because if I had to say my top 5 coaches, I can give you those off the top of my head. But the problem is, you got to do a coach search. These coaches ain't gonna be available. I can give you. Andy Reid is one of them. McVay, 2. Kyle in no specific order. Kyle Shanahan, 3. I actually like Matt LaFleur a lot. That's 4. And I like Campbell, 5. I like his energy level. I can give you a couple more that I like. Harbaugh gotta be Harbaugh. I'm sorry, and I moved in my top 6. And I'm from Ohio. He just gets it done. I don't know what he be doing. He be magically getting it done. You could put him in at 6. I like Tomlin. I like Harbaugh. I would take either one of them dudes. I'd be waiting for them to fire them dudes. Yeah, crazy. Fire them and get them. I like those. But if you asking me a up and coming, ain't no bona fide regular coach gonna come. They're gonna have to get a college coach or you would have to. I think here's the thing. I think they would, if they wanted the offense, I think that they would probably, if they wanted a college coach, they might go get Lincoln Riley. I don't think. I don't know if Chip Kelly would try to be a head coach again. It didn't work out the first time. Let me think of another couple college dudes that I kind of like. That would be, the name would be on the list that I think can really work with it. I don't know, off the top of it, I'll just go with those guys, right? Jimmy Cleveland. They forgot the first thing Shadeur said. If you don't want to change your program around, don't draft me. He sure did, so tell him that. Sandra N. No vision, fear the unknown. Man, let me tell you something, man. I think, and I try not to do this. I do believe that there's something to be had. I'll give this. There's something to be had for the people and the great pioneers that came up in a different era. Nowadays, we talk about professional athletics. The pioneers back then was literal pioneers. I marvel at the fact, every time I drive, right? Sometime I took a road trip to Chicago, right? And I think about the sacrifices of people like Harriet Tubman, who was leading people to freedom from the South to the North. And think about the levels and geography and landscapes that you got to go through. Not only go through, but utilize the Underground Railroad, but also have to be in a place where dogs is trying to catch you. And you know that if you get caught, it's death, right? Or worse. And you gotta go through Stone Mountains if you're in Georgia, the Smoky Mountains through Tennessee, Appalachia with Virginia and West Virginia, cross the Ohio River, cross Lake Erie and some of the Great Lakes just to get to Canada and freedom? Think about the explorers who got on boats like that tried to find the Northwest Passage, a waterway through North America, or they wanted to find the fastest way to get to the Spice Islands, or figuring out how long it takes to get around the south point, the Cape of Good Hope, or to get to find the Drake Passage. Think about all of these people that got on the boat, or even the Polynesians who got in paddle boats in the Pacific Ocean, one of the biggest oceans. I mean, you could turn the globe one way and all you will see is this Pacific Ocean. People don't understand how massive that, and these people got in paddle boats and charted Easter Islands, all of the islands out in the Pacific, Samoa. Like, come on, bro. That's courage. Courage is not playing a quarterback that you drafted, that you can coach up and get them ready to play. That ain't courage. I just feel like today we are so lazy that, like, everything that we have, this little iPhone, this right here, somebody else toiled and traversed to make this, and now we got it, and we don't even know what to do with it. We use it for all the wrong ways. It's wild to me. Thank you, Sandra. Quarterbacks motivate, lead, motivate, and inspire. Shadeur, is that ready and good is a must. You don't know if your cake is that if you don't taste it. I love cooking shows, and what's the first thing that they tell you is being a chef? Always taste. Continue to taste. Taste throughout the process. How do you know it needs more salt? How do you know it don't need no more sugar? Unless you taste. And nobody becomes a great cook, and nobody becomes a great barbecuer or a great pastry chef if you do not have trial and error. The best recipes in the world are created by what? Trial and error. No one wakes up and says, this is the perfect recipe. It takes years of cultivation, years of meticulous writing down and doing it, and you got it. And by the way, a note to anybody else out there listening, sit next to your elders. Sit next to your grandmother. Learn your story, history, and lineage. Learn to ask about them recipes. Learn about that pound cake that she made, or how they went about certain things, so you can be able to pass that down to your generation, to your children. It's important. Make sure you sit up and soak some of that knowledge up from your elders. Have a conversation about when they was younger, because that's where you pass the knowledge on. And it's about relationships. Building those relationships, that pays that dividends in all the rest of your points of your life. Beautifully blessed. Thank you so much. Now, 12 will be ready by week 8. That's what we need to see him. That's when we need to see him. Hey, that is, it's creeping up there. It's creeping up there. Ms. Bell said, I love the quarterback in 2016. I'm glad y'all enjoy it, man. I had to, sometimes you got to poke a little fun at it, man. Gooch Dog, we appreciate your super chat. Shouldn't the Browns hope that Gabriel Sanders be the future, so those picks can be used for the best player, for the best position players? Why is that not the goal? You tell me. I'm a little confused. Like, why would you not want that to be the case? You can use that for a tackle, which you don't have. You can use that for a receiver, which you don't have, or get better. Instead of sinking these costs into things, it's crazy. Would you not get a couple of estimates and do your due diligence on your roof before you have somebody give you a completely new one? Of course you would. Not the Browns. God Music. Thanks, G. Bush, for the support. Where it's at, put it in the chat. That's facts. Where is it at? Put it in the chat. Where is it at? Put it in the chat. Where is it at? Put it in the chat. Got to. Kirk Davis says, stay ready so you ain't gotta get ready. You know what I was gonna do? I was going to actually go over some Browns and get some Browns versus Packers stats. No one cares about that. Here's what you can do. You can catch me out. Coming up later on, tomorrow, Browns post game, be right here. And coming up next week, when we come up next week on, let's see, the 28th, I have a very special announcement to make. September 28th on the postgame show. Very special. If you love the Barbershop, very special. Please tune in and we will talk about it at that time. But as for me, you never know what G. Bush might show at radio, television, and that. If you want a fresh cut on sports, the Barbershop is always here with the Clippers. As always, I just went through 2.5 hours of talking what the Browns do. But I always hope the best. Because at the end of the day, I'm a Browns fan, but I'm also a fan of the people. Each and every person that tunes into the Barbershop family community is bigger than sports. It's about sports, music, and culture, and you guys are the best part of it. We appreciate you. Have a great rest of your weekend, and go watch that Quarterbacks in 26. The Quarterbacks is playing in this 26. Go ahead and get that right here on the Barbershop.